You know, being a teacher is a really big job. It's not just about teaching math or reading, right? It's about making sure every single student feels safe and respected. But what if I told you that for some teachers, that's a whole lot harder than it is for others? Well, today we're going to dive into why that is.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a super important question. Do you think every teacher walks into the classroom on the first day of school and gets the same amount of respect from their students? I mean, they should, right? But the truth is, it doesn't always work that way. For some teachers, it's like they have to climb a really steep hill just to get the same respect others get automatically.
Wow, look at this. Less than 2%. That's a tiny number, isn't it? Well, that's the number of teachers in the entire United States who are black men. Even though there aren't a lot of them, they make a huge, amazing difference in schools. And that's exactly why we need to talk about some of the unfair challenges they're up against.
So, let's talk about this idea. A teacher's unfair test. Imagine having to take a test every single day, but it's a test other people don't even have to take. That's what it can feel like for some teachers, like they constantly have to prove they belong.
Think about it this way. For some teachers, it's like they get to walk into their classroom on day one and they're instantly seen as the leader, the boss. But for others, especially many black male teachers, it's different. They have to prove over and over again that they deserve that same respect. And there's a name for this difference. Scientists who study this stuff call it the authority gap.
So let's really look at what that means. On one hand, you have most teachers who get respect kind of automatically. It's just given to them. They're trusted as the leader. But on the other hand, for a lot of black male teachers, that respect has to be earned, constantly. They get tested by students, which means they have to keep proving themselves, day in and day out.
All right, so now we're going to get into the respect gap explained. What does this actually look like in school? And, why is this even a thing? Let's take a closer look.
Okay, so there's actually a term for the kind of behavior these teachers often face. It's called DID. That stands for Defiance, Insubordination and Disrespect. Basically, it means students challenging a teacher, straight up ignoring them, or just being rude. And the research is really clear on this. Black male teachers deal with way more of this kind of stuff than other teachers.
So you might be asking, why? Why does this happen? Well, the most important thing to know is that it is absolutely not the teacher's fault. It happens because of unfair ideas, sometimes called stereotypes, that people might have without even realizing it. These are like little unfair shortcuts or brain steak, and they can change how we see and treat people, even our teachers.
And all of this leads to something really tough. It's like these teachers have an unseen extra job. It's a job they never asked for, it's totally unfair, and it pulls them away from doing what they're there to do, which is to teach you.
Yeah, this extra job has a name. It's called the invisible tax. What that means is there's this expectation that black male teachers are supposed to be the school's main rule enforcer. They're the ones other adults often go to for every behavior problem, especially with students of color. And that's just not right. All that time they spend doing that is time they can't spend planning cool lessons or helping you with your work.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The numbers tell the story. On average, black male teachers spend about 5.5 hours every week on this extra stuff. Their white male colleagues? About 2.5 hours. That's more than double the time. Just think about that. That's like having to work an extra half day of school every single week.
Okay, so let's just state the obvious here. Why this is wrong? Because it is. It's completely wrong. This isn't just unfair to the teachers, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for students, it's bad for families, it's bad for the whole school.
It actually creates this impossible trap for them. I want you to hear this. This is something a student really said to his black male teacher. You don't got no control in your class. And why? Because that teacher chose to be caring and understanding instead of being super strict. But because of those unfair ideas we talked about, the students saw kindness as being weak. So if they're nice, they have no control. But if they're strict, they get called mean or angry. You see? It's a total no-win situation.
And here's the really sad part. When we treat awesome teachers like this, we might lose them for good. They get worn out from all the unfairness, and they just decide to leave teaching altogether. And when a great teacher leaves, who does that hurt? It hurts everyone. Every single student misses out.
And we know exactly how much we lose. Get this, research shows that black boys who have just one black teacher when they're young are almost 40% less likely to drop out of high school. 39%. That is huge. It shows just how powerful and important these teachers are. We absolutely cannot afford to lose them.
Okay, so this is a really big problem, for sure.
But here's the good news. There is good news. We can actually fix this. Every one of us, I'm talking students, parents, everyone in the school, we all have the power to change this. And you know what it all boils down to? One simple, super powerful word: respect. All right, and this is a message for all the parents and guardians out there. This has to be a team effort. Probably the single most important thing you can do is talk to your kids about this. Really have that conversation about why it's so important to respect all the teachers and all the adults in their school. No exceptions. That one conversation at home, it can change everything at school.
And now, for all the students listening, you have the power to be a hero in your own classroom. Seriously, it's not about doing some huge crazy thing. It's the small stuff, like just listen when your teacher is talking. Follow directions the first time they're given. Raise your hand if you want to say something. And use your manners, say please and thank you. It sounds simple, right? But those little things, they add up and make a gigantic difference.
So here's the bottom line. What you do matters a lot. You, right now, have the power to make sure every single teacher gets the respect they've earned and they deserve. So the question isn't if you can make a difference. We already know you can. The real question is, how are you going to show respect today?